One more Bionicle Inspiration series. We're back. Hello, and it's Halloween time. Kinda, sorta. I know by the time it comes out, it's not exactly Halloween time, but we're doing some Halloween-themed episodes this month of October, so let's dive straight into a bunch of Halloween-themed mocks. Gonna be a little bit of a shorter one today. I'm a little busy at the moment, but hey, we got some bis. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna get inspired to build some cool mocks. So let's have some fun. Let's begin with the very first mock today. This is by Victor, and this is called The Night of the Mutant Pumpkin. So obviously, it's a big giant pumpkin dude. Very fitting, very cool. And I love how he's used a lot of these sort of trans orange pieces here for this. Not all of these pieces exist in orange specifically, but you could have easily built something fairly similar using your typical colors of orange, or I don't know, any other color that sort of more better fits a pumpkin. Maybe you could use like Keat orange. I don't know, probably just orange would be better. But still, I think the trans orange really pops here and really works. There is something a little bit more, I don't know, sort of sinister or spooky about it. And look, translucent colors look cool and sometimes can be just a little bit more, I don't know, you don't see people use them as much to a degree, or at least in sort of larger quantities like this. So I don't know, there's something very, very pleasing about that I quite enjoy. I also quite enjoy the sort of like eye design here, using those claw pieces that came in actually quite a few different sets. I love the just sort of general shape that it forms there. It's very sort of sinister looking eye design. The fact that they kind of form these sort of little kind of like loops around the sides of the kind of Keat orange eyes underneath there really gives it this sinister look. It's kind of like the eyebrows that can really give an eye design, whether it's on a drawing or a mock like this, that more kind of creepy evil look. So I think they've done a pretty good job there, and a really nice piece used there to use those claw pieces as kind of like eyebrows, or just sort of like, I don't know, the lip of the eye, is that the word you'd call it? I don't know. But it looks cool, and it certainly creates a sinister look. As do the teeth, I think, as well. I love how they're all sort of at slightly different angles to a degree, or sort of jutting out to the sides a bit. Does give it that more sort of monstrous look, which is really quite fitting. And, it's kind of the general shape of what you would see on a sort of like carved pumpkin as well. So, yeah, I quite like that. I also like just the little stem poking out the top there, just very fitting. It makes sense for a pumpkin sort of thing. So that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I also quite enjoy the feet on this mock here, the fact that there's all these different kind of roots and vines and things growing out of them, and the fact that the colors change to being a bit more kind of green. It's kind of like the roots underneath kind of growing, or they've sort of sprouted into legs or whatever. I think is pretty neat. I think it's a great way of doing that, because you could have easily had this just be a purely trans orange mock here, but that little sort of addition of color there, and the fact that it's sort of blocked so that it's just the legs as well, just makes like visual sense. It looks like roots, it looks like sort of the underneath of it, all of that. So I think it's just really creative and clever, and having that additional pop of color I think goes a long way. So yeah, I love that. No reason you couldn't build something fairly similar to this. The cool looking pumpkin dude, whether you just have a sort of pumpkin aesthetic, maybe the dude has a pumpkin for the head, or I don't know, they are, a pumpkin man or a pumpkin robot or a pumpkin mech or something cool like that. Lots of different ways you could play with that there. So just the general kind of pumpkin aesthetic, of course, is very fitting for this time. So if you do want to make some Halloween theme mocks, this might be the perfect time to do so. So very cool, Victor. Let's move on to the next mock. This is by Ron Folkers, and this is called El Coco. So I'll quickly read the description here, because I quite liked what he wrote here. He says, everyone has fears, even you. It's shapeless, so it can be anywhere at any time, whether that means lurking under your bed or in the closet or behind a tree in the forest. So kind of like that, just the idea of it being this sort of like almost sort of like a shape-shifting sort of like wisp or ghost or shadow or something that can kind of be anywhere, hide behind anything, appear anywhere, which I think to a degree is a good way to describe fear as well. So I like how he's kind of personified a concept of fear in mock form. And I think that's one of my favorite things about this mock, is just the sort of like wisp kind of ghost-like nature of the legs and the arms. There's something sort of like silky or smooth, like shapeless about it, like a shadow or a ghost, So I think that kind of general, kind of like just the general sort of shape and allure of this mock seems so fitting for that of an embodiment of fear, but also just an embodiment of sort of like ghosts or spirits or specters or something, which again, very fitting for Halloween. But I also like the fact that you could kind of take some of the sort of smoothness of this as like tentacles or like blades or something even, and you could see this thing sort of like latching onto someone and just like, carving them up, cutting them up, fighting them, whatever. So I like that there's sort of different ways of interpreting this, and I think all of them are pretty cool, you know, and again, very fitting for Halloween. So really, really interesting sort of like shaping and just kind of overall design. I think it's quite inspiring there. So good way of building a creeper looking mock there for Halloween. Some of the other stuff I like on this mock is actually not even related to the mock. I love the background that this has been photographed with. I want to say that's probably like photoshopped or something. I don't know if he's actually physically bought that background or, you know, went to a place outside and found a cool looking background or something. It's probably photoshopped. I don't know. I'm just making an assumption. But I think just the sort of creepy looking, kind of dingy, dirty nature of that background is a great way of just sort of making the mock pop more and really kind of communicating a sense of, I guess, like dread or evil or the kind of Halloween spirit, whatever you want to say. So yeah, by all means, if you're photographing something and you want to have a more sort of like sinister or creepy look, or even a more sort of like happy, vibrant feel, what sort of background can you put that might communicate that? You know, do you want to have like a really sort of just plain black background just to make it a bit more, I don't know, neutral, or a white one as well maybe, or something like this, or maybe if you wanted that kind of happier vibe, maybe you want like a big bright yellow or something, I don't know. Just play with stuff, see how it works, you know? Whether you just like go down to the shops and buy some card that's a specific color, or I don't know, maybe you've just got a cool kind of textured wall in your house. Why not photograph it there? I don't know. There's lots of different ways you can do it, but I think it does really enhance this mock here specifically. So fantastic choice for the photography there, because, hey, you know, it is important to think a bit about your photography when you're posting it, because, you know, your mock might be amazing, but if people can't see it, or it's not sort of, I don't know, photographed in the right way, it might not have the full effect that you're aiming for. So definitely worth putting a little bit of thought into it if you can, you know. But yeah, just in general, I think a really fun looking mock here, and just some fantastic kind of texture play and general shaping that I think goes a long way and creates a really solid looking mock. So love your work there, good sir. Let's move on to the next one. This is by Dylan Mievis, and this is called Celestine La Croix, something like that. So this is a cool looking witch. Witches, Halloween, obviously a very fitting combination. So, you know, that was kind of my intent with all of these mocks, which I'm sure you've picked up by now, as it was just kind of like what sort of different stuff encompasses a sort of broad range of you know, Halloween as in general. And of course, witches, I think, fit perfectly with that. So what sort of stuff we got going on here? What works? What's good? What can inspire us? I love this broom design. It's really, really cool. The way that all those sort of like palm tree leaf Lego pieces just sort of flutter out the edge there. It looks pretty fitting for a broom. I don't know. I can't think of another way of doing that. That's pretty good. Actually, I can think of another way of doing that. Maybe you could use the official kind of bush element pieces, which do also come in dark tan as well. So that could work. It would be a bit sort of like thinner. This one's a lot sort of more like bushy and thick, which I think works with the sort of size of this mock here. Maybe if you were to build a smaller witch, that could be a good broomstick design there. So something to consider if you're looking to build something smaller there, maybe. But yeah, I think that's a fantastic looking broom design, and also just in general a great accessory for a witch. You don't really see a lot of broomsticks on Bionicles these days, so that's pretty cool. I also quite like the leg design here, specifically the sort of like brown boots. The way that the sort of lower legs there have those larger brown claw pieces, which we also see on the top of the broomstick here as well. It just looks cool. Looks really, really cool. I think that's just in general a very nice design and somewhat simplistic. It's just using what I would imagine is either 3 or 4 of those larger claw pieces together like that, and whatever sort of structure connects them together. You know, simplistic enough there, and I don't know, it looks nice. It's got some nice kind of consistency because it matches what's on the broomstick there, but it also matches the dress, which uses those same pieces in black. So you get a bit of sort of unity and consistency throughout the mock there. It's very nice indeed. So yeah, lovely looking design there. And I just spoke about the dress there. I love how exactly that, using those same larger tooth pieces there for sort of like flowing sort of witch dress. Just in general, looks perfect for that of a witch's dress. And then we can see even more sort of layers over the top of that with more of the sort of smaller kind of tooth or claw pieces there. So it kind of almost has sort of like multiple layers of cloth there, which again, I think is very fitting for that of a witch's dress, but also just adds a little bit more kind of like layers and detail to the sort of clothing of this mock here. So just, yeah, a really, really solid looking design there, and perfect for that of a witch. Nice work. Obviously the lime representing the sort of witch's skin there, very fitting, and nice to see it blocked in specific ways there as well, so that you can very clearly see, okay, that's where the dress ends and that's where her, you know, arms or head begin, sort of thing. And the head design here I think is fantastic, using one of the Turaga masks there and Kuroda's mask there, just sort of neatly sort of placing them together like that does create a decently fitting sort of head design for the witch. And the way that Kuroda's horn is sort of placed upside down there and sort of flowing out does look, exactly like that of a witch's nose, which is awesome. That was an accidental pun. I didn't mean that, but, accept my pun. Accidental, but accepted. And yeah, I love that. I think it's great. And the way, too, that the Kuroda mask sort of flows even further up there, and Dylan has sort of used some of the different holes within the mask there to insert different pieces to represent hair on the witch as well is awesome. It's really, really cool. So a great way of, combining different masks, placing things upside down, all that sort of stuff to create a very, very unique head design. Very, very cool indeed. And an awesome looking witch's hat as well. So, I don't know. Just a really, really solid looking witch mark here. Dylan, you've outdone yourself. Good job. And you know what? Build some witches. Because witches fitting for Halloween. Very, very cool. Let's move on now to the next mock. And the last mock in this episode. We're going back to the early days of Biss, where we did 3 mocks and maybe a bonus mock. Yeah, so I guess this is our bonus mock today. This is by Mitch Phillips, and it's called Hellspawn Incarnate. So I love this. I think this is fantastic. It uses a whole bunch of those Cricker blade pieces, as well as like the head pieces of Cricker from the old Mystica wave, one of the Makuta sets there. Really, really cool, and really unique set as well, because Cricket had a whole bunch of those unique pieces in here, as you can see, the sort of like milky white with that sort of marbled red throughout it. Just a really distinct, different color for anything, really. You don't get much of it. And to me, it looks so like bones or, I don't know, just sort of like dripping with blood or something. There's something very like horrific about it and very fitting for Halloween. So I think it was a great idea to use them here. Specifically, how he's just focused them on like sort of the weapons or the feet or even kind of on the head here as well. And these ones on the head here, they're from an Exoforce set, not from Cricker. But they kind of had that same color scheme there. So nice to see that he's used essentially every time that pieces appeared. Pieces have appeared in those colors there, and put them all together on this mock here. I just think that the choice of doing that is very smart because, like I said, it has that very sort of blood-soaked look. And I think it works well with this sort of all dark red color scheme here as well. It's quite fitting. And just back to the head design there, I love the choice of these big strong blades sort of forming like almost kind of like a crown or little kind of like pincers or something for this head. And then the fact that he's used that Knight's Kingdom like helmet piece there. I love that. The color scheme of it makes it almost look sort of like rusted and ancient. It almost kind of gives you this sense that, I don't know, maybe there was this haunted mask that like, I don't know, someone put it on and it mutated their body and turned them into this hideous, what was it called? Hellspawn Incarnate creature sort of thing, I love that. It looks like this mask has sort of, an evil power lurking inside it or something. I think that's a great choice there because you could have easily used the Cricker mask there as the head, or I don't know, used a dark red mask or built some sort of custom head or something. There's many things you could have done, but I think that was a fantastic choice there and is quite fitting for the Halloween theme. So perfect indeed. And on the subject of that being a Knight's Kingdom mask, this mock actually uses a whole bunch of different pieces from a whole bunch of different construction-related themes. So let's list some of them. So of course there's Knight's Kingdom on that mask there. There's a bunch of Galador pieces on this, specifically on the legs, and you can also see some of them on the torso as well, I believe. Yeah, sort of like on the very side of the torso. He's using some of the... I'm so bad with my Galador names. I think it's Uni. Has some of these like weird kind of like leg pieces, and there's a sort of unique texture to them, and that's sort of forming the sort of side of the torso there, which looks really cool. I think it's just some, in general, like really nice shaping and just a nice overall look as well. And it looks like there's another one of those sort of leg connected pieces up there as well. So there's a few different Galador pieces here and there. And there's a Ben 10 torso piece there on the torso of this mark. Of course, there's a whole bunch of Bionicle pieces as well, and I believe that's it. But that's pretty cool, using a whole bunch of different pieces from a whole bunch of different themes. Someone actually pointed that out in the comments there, and then Mitch was like, man, I wish I'd thrown some, like, Robo Rider pieces or something else in there so I could, have really encompassed all the different themes of construction there across the years. So, I don't know, that could also be a really fun challenge for you if you have pieces from, Robo Riders, Slicers, Ben 10, Galador, Knight's Kingdom, whatever, all the different stuff. See if you can just shove all those different types of pieces in one mock and make it work. I don't know, it could be a fun challenge, good way of just sort of incorporating all the different types and styles of pieces of things. So yeah, give it a go, it might be fun. What else about this mock? I think just in general, some of the poses that he's in these photos are really just menacing and powerful and prominent. Like, just, I don't know, picturing this thing like running towards you in a dark alley, or just, I don't know, seeing a silhouette of it at night when it's not very well lit or something would be terrifying. So I love that. I think it's always really powerful when you can have a really nice sort of like silhouette to your mock, or just a really cool looking kind of like stance, or just a sort of like presence to it even. It's cool. It's really, really cool. So I think there's something very sort of, scary and prominent about this mock. So I really, really do like it. A lot of really cool stuff going on with this one here, and a lot of really cool stuff going on with all the mocks in today's episode. So like I said, a little bit of a shorter one, but still a good one. So hopefully you guys have a good Halloween. I don't know if I'll do a Halloween episode next one, because next? Well, actually, maybe I should have saved this, because next time will be the 30th or the 31st for the next episode. So yeah, maybe we will do another Halloween themed episode, or we've done 3. See how we go. If there's interest, I'll do it. See how we go. But for now, I mean, happy Halloween. Hopefully, some of these things can inspire you to build something in time for Halloween. You've got more or less a week, so if you've got the time to spare, if you've got the pieces, if you've got the inspiration flowing, see what you can do. See if you want to build something scary, something spooky, something cool. See how you go. So thank you very much for watching. Like I said, in the description below will be links to all the mocks you saw in today's episodes. If you want to see some of the other stuff these people have built, be sure to check the links there. And you can even leave a bit of love on their posts. Give them a like, give them a comment, whatever works, and just let them know your thoughts. Because, hey, these guys are pretty cool. They're pretty talented. You may as well let them know what you think and give them a bit of love, because I couldn't do these episodes without them. Additionally, in the description below is the submission email. It's also on your screen right now. So if you want to submit some of your own mocks to the show, that's the place to do so. And additionally, there's links in the description below to my social media as well, so you can see some of the stuff that I've got going on over there. So that's that. Thank you very much for listening. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you, and bye for now.